Okay, as you could probably guess, this video is going to be on types of walking shoe that you really need if you find yourself in some kind of a situation where you have to walk home. The very first pair that I'm going to really talk about are these Columbia. Now, what I'm going to talk about is that I would not recommend getting them. They're actually one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive, boot in the Columbia line. They've got this, this heat tack or thinsulate tack that they have on the inside. This, I don't know, it's almost supposed to be silver or whatever. I don't know what it is. But here's the problem with these boots is the eyelets just keep breaking. So even though these were my go-to boot and I really liked them, they're really garbage. You need to have something, and that's what I've started doing. As you can see, in all the new sort of boots that I've bought, what I've really focused on is the eyelets and how they're just much stronger. So, and I pretty much won't buy a pair of boots anymore unless the eyelets are stronger, or even just something like this where it just goes right into the leather, where it's much more likely to stay intact and work for me. You can kind of see these on clouds that I bought that are just like beat up because they're so comfortable. And the same with these Hokas. They're just a really comfortable pair of shoes that have just worked really well for me. So what I want to kind of get into is how important your feet are. It just cannot be overstated enough about how important your feet are and how you're just not going to be able to move. If your feet are not working, you're getting all blistered up and you're just not doing well, then you're just not going to go anywhere. So many people, especially a lot of women, they don't really put enough time and effort into understanding what it's going to take to walk, how fast you can walk, how far you can walk, like what you can do, and being comfortable. So here's one of my first tips that I have for you is you have to invest in a really good pair of walking shoes that you've walked in, that you know that your feet can handle, that your knees can handle, that don't encourage any kind of lower back pain, knee pain, foot pain, anything like that. Your feet are going to swell. So I would recommend that you go for whatever these shoes are. You go for maybe half a size bigger. Don't go any bigger than that at all, because you do not want movement. You do not want your feet to float around inside that shoe. But as you start walking and your feet start swelling, you don't want those shoes to be too tight. You want the shoes to be able to allow circulation, because if you get a fluid buildup in your feet, then you're now preventing circulation in your feet. So work on that. If you find that, hey, you're maybe just a wee bit smaller than an even size, then just go down, then just go up to that full size, or just whatever that size is. Maybe it already works for you. But people really, really need to dial in their footwear. They need to understand how important your feet are if you have to walk, if you have to move, especially if you've been gaining a bit of weight like me, and you do kind of blow out shoes pretty quickly. What is a good pair of shoes that will last you longer? And keeping them close, if you've got your bag, a good pair of walking boots are hard to put in your bag. But you know what you can do? You can kind of just hook them around your bag, so that if you've got your get home bag, your get to bag, whatever it is, then the boots are really close to it. They're just right there. They're just hooked onto it, so that you just basically put the boots on and away you go. So if you're walking and you find any kind of discomfort whatsoever, your foot's just not fitting in the boot right, you've got a piece of stone in there, or a rock or something, something is just agitating you, don't keep walking on it. It's not that important unless your life is literally at risk in that moment and you have to run. You have to run for safety. You want to stop. You want to stop and you want to get whatever's in your boot out. You want to clean it out. You want to lace it properly. So if you need a little bit of extra room in the lower laces and you need to have it tighter in the upper portion, at some point it will eventually work its way out. But if you want to keep doing that, where you just have a little bit more breathability, a little bit more space for your toes, and a nice tight fit for your heel, just do that. Just work on what works for you. So you have to practice. If you don't practice this, you're just not going to get it right. you're not going to get it right. You're not going to figure out what are the right shoes for you. And as far as you can see in my boots and my shoes, I have a lot of different types of shoes because I do a lot of walking. So when you do a lot of walking, you start figuring out what is comfortable for you. So I like lightweight. I like lightweight boots for being able just to move on my normal day-to-day stuff. I find that I don't really need a ton of ankle support in my normal walking because if I'm not carrying a pack or if I'm not going over rough terrain, I don't really need it as much. So getting your exercise in where you build up your stamina, you might not necessarily need these your get-to boots or your get-home boots, something that you're going to have to depend upon if something was to happen and the crap hits the fan. Now, you don't want to be wearing those boots for the first time. So even though I'm saying you don't have to wear those boots all the time, you do want to wear them enough. So I would say you want to spend a minimum of probably 20 hours in them. So if you spend about 20 hours in those boots, walking, moving around, even if it's just at home, whatever the case is, you put them on for half an hour and whatever else. So that means they're going to be somewhat molded to your feet after about 20 hours. And then, honestly, I don't know if I would wear them much after that. So now they become part of your kit, your emergency kit. So you've broken them in. Your feet are used to them. They're a good boot. You know how to adjust the laces. You know how to wear them properly. And now they become part of your kit. So you don't want to keep wearing them where you might wear them out. Or now when you go to use them for an emergency, you blow something out. You blow out the laces. You blow something out. And spur laces, wow. Like I can't stress how important it is to have spur laces that fit the boot or the shoe that you decide to wear if you're bugging out. You have to know that. So here's something is like these Merrells that I got. I'm going to turn the phone around again. These Merrells that I got right here, I had a pair just exactly the same as these, and I really liked them. I just wore those things out like you wouldn't believe. So then I got this pair, which is literally the exact same pair of what I had, because I like to stick with what I know is good, right? So I got these pair. Now here's the problem is, and I'm really glad that I did start wearing them to see if these would be my bug out shoe. But what happened is there's something different about the back of them. And I discovered it too late. So it actually was cutting in to the back of my heel. So I've got these nice Merrells that I paid over $100 for. And now they're essentially useless. I can wear them for really short stuff, but not for any kind of long hiking. So here's why I would recommend you go with something like REI. And unfortunately, I did not buy these at REI. What do I like about REI? If you're trying to find shoes, REI is a members club, and they will let you return shoes like long after you've bought them. And I'm like really regretting that I didn't buy those Merrells at REI, because I would have been able to take them back to REI and work on another pair of shoes that would have been more comfortable for me. So that's a big tip is somewhere, and depending on where you live, if you don't have an REI but you have an equivalent, what you really want to do is you want to look into their return policy. So any kind of, nice high-end stores, you're going to pay a wee bit more, but it's really worth it. Because had I bought those Merrells at REI and realized that they were cutting into the back of my heel, then I would have been able to return them to get a pair of shoes, get the credit towards a pair of shoes that don't cut into the back of my heel. So, so I've started now where I actually only shop when I'm looking for emergency kit or stuff that I'm looking to really hold up and do well. I only shop at a cooperative type store, because the cooperative type stores usually have the best return policy. So it's unfortunate that Costco don't usually have a lot of high-end shoes, but they would be another organization that would be good to really try out the shoe, and if they don't work, to be able to return it. So REI for me is worth it's a wee bit further away than a lot of other shoe stores for me, but it's worth the extra trip, and it's worth the extra money, because now I figure out what is a really good shoe. And then honestly, what I just do is I usually buy another pair. So I just double up, and that's going to be my plan moving forward here, is once I find a good fitting shoe that's really comfortable, I buy another pair, because I can break them in, put them away in my emergency kit, and then wear the other pair. and then I'm covered. Because if something happens to me and I don't get to my emergency kit, as much of that stuff that I get to wear on a daily basis, it means that I've already got a lot of that gear ready. So if, for instance, if I had something happen and I'm already wearing a lot of that gear, I'm wearing my REI pants, I'm wearing the shoes, I'm wearing whatever else, any lightweight gear that I normally like to walk or travel in, then I'm covered. I'm ready to go. And I don't even need to worry about carrying the pair of shoes that's in my kit. Or I put the ones in my kit on and I just leave my day-to-day shoes, just wherever they are. But it covers you if for some reason you can't get to your kit. At least you've got something that is what you would have carried in your kit and you're ready to go. So I hope that this helps. I hope some of those tips about even just, the cooperative thing, buying the shoes, wearing them, seeing if they're going to work, making sure they're comfortable, no knee pain, no foot pain, dialing them in. And if they don't work, bring them back. Bring them back until you find a pair from there that works, and then buy another pair. Or buy the same brand in a high top or a low top or whatever shoe it is that you go for. Buy the same brand because they're probably going to have the same fitting, the same size, the same width, the same dimensions, and then get another pair. So if you buy a pair that are somewhat lightweight and breathable, and you're going to be getting out of there in the summer and you're going to be wearing those shoes, then that's great. But maybe the other pair that you buy is the same pair but in a waterproof version, in a high top, in a cold weather version, something along those lines. That once you find the brand that that works for you, that is similar sizing, go ahead and buy the other boot. And then if you break it in for 20 hours and yes, this is it, now you can keep sticking with that brand because it's a good brand, it's a good fit, it's a good sizing for your foot. So hopefully this helps. Let me know if you have any other thoughts, or put it in the comments, and then that way we can get a chat going and let people know. You can see some of the shoes. I don't mind trying out different brands until I find a pair that I really like. Like and subscribe.